On this week's episode of BJ in the Morning, it's the Battle of the Spoofs, Part 2. Let's go. Welcome to BJ in the Morning. I'm Juan.
And I'm Brendan.
And this is Part 2 of our spoof bracket
Battle Royale.
Battle Royale
Sounds about right.
basketball style.
I think they only use these brackets in basketball.
What is it?
March Madness?
March
I don't think we can
Madness,
say
yeah.
that though.
Style?
We're already getting suppressed on everything. So.
That's okay. It
Fucking
happens.
Disney.
It happens. Yeah, fucking Disney. Fuck you, Disney.
Whoa.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
You're trying
whoa,
to
whoa.
get it more. You're trying to get more. I get it. So let's give a little recap of last round, which just had 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
In the first round, we had What We Do in the Shadows versus Epic Movie.
Mm-hmm.
Who won that round?
Epic movie.
Why?
Because we decided it was more of a spoof rather than What We Do in the Shadows.
True. Team America versus Not Another Teen Movie.
Mm-hmm. That was a tough one.
It was tough because it definitely feels like they both should have gone forward, but we both kind of agreed that Not Another Teen Movie is more along the lines of a spoof, whereas Team America seemed more just like...
More original.
Kind of, to an extent, right, for what it is. And then we had Austin Powers versus Blazing Saddles. Austin Powers won that one. And Spaceballs versus Scary Movie.
That was a hard choice.
It was, because Spaceballs definitely spoofing mostly Star Wars, whereas Scary Movies, like horror movies, you're screwed.
Yeah. Exactly.
And now we're moving into round 2.
Round 2.
So let's go over the round 2 bracket one more time. So we got Basketball versus Epic Movie, Robin Hood Men in Tights versus Date Movie, Tropic Thunder versus Not Another Teen Movie, Shaun of the Dad versus Hot Fuzz, still mad about that, Airplane versus Austin Powers, Kung Pao versus Hot Shots, Superhero Movie versus Scary Movie, and Mars Attacks versus Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one.
They're all great movies. They're all great. They're all fun to watch. But for this, we brought us a tiebreaker.
We do have a tiebreaker.
We have a
just in
tiebreaker. If we can't agree on one, our good friend over here in the corner, he's gonna
just kind of chime in whenever we need. He's gonna chime in with haven't you people ever heard of closing the gosh dang door? You know what I mean?
I get it.
But why don't we jump into this? Starting with the first game of today. We got Basketball versus Epic Movie.
Oof.
So we already talked a little bit about Epic Movie, but do you want to give a rundown real fast for the people who, for some reason, skipped round 1?
Right. Let me pull it up again.
Okay.
Epic Movie is a spoof movie that came out in 2007.
Yeah.
It was about the 4 orphans, and this movie spoofed, Chronicles of Narnia. They spoofed, I don't have it pulled
I'm pretty
up.
sure there was like an X-Men thing in there.
X-Men. Hang on.
We're hanging on. Edge of our seats over here.
Hang on. Where's the IMDb? There it is. Nope, that's not it. God damn it. But, yeah, yeah. Pirates of the Caribbean.
That was on the list, yeah.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, there's that one.
Yeah. It took me to Amazon so I can buy it.
Nice. Are you going to buy it?
Dang.
Add to cart?
Add to cart. Anyway, sorry, I wasn't prepared.
Hey,
on
Alexa.
That one. What's that?
Hey, Alexa.
Hey, Alexa,
Add
order me Epic Movie.
The unrated version, please.
But yeah, we decided to move that one forward before because it was more of a spoof than
What We Do in the Shadows.
So paired up against Basketball, I feel like it's along the same lines, but I also don't really want to just pick Epic Movie because
it is
of that
classic spoof type
reason.
of formula. Yeah. So in basketball, we have two slacker friends who are challenged to play like a pickup basketball game against some jocks, and they counter by proposing to play a game they learned called basketball, which combines basketball and baseball. And it takes off. It takes the world by storm.
They made it up, right?
Yeah.
They were like in the driveway, and they made this game up while they were like drinking, shooting hoops, and it became like a whole league.
Yeah, and this movie is definitely a spoof movie of like the underdog like sports movies of the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
It's got those classic beats where it's like everything's going great, and then the team falls apart because they're trying to sell out or not sell out. There's a love story. It's seriously so like on par for these types of sports movies from that day. Out of these two, I would rather watch Basketball over Epic Movie.
Yeah.
It is the guys who made South Park did this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got that kind of humor, but I don't think it's terribly like as offensive as South Park and things like that. So I don't know. That's not like a ruling factor here, but it's an easier watch, I think, than Epic Movie.
I think so too. I think Epic Movie, you have to have like a certain taste for it.
Yeah, and especially from when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I know this dude over here in the corner. We watched this movie on rotation with a lot of these other movies.
Epic Movie?
Yeah, it was one of those ones we like put on like in between like Meet the Spartans and I don't know the other ones we used to watch. More that are on this list later on. So
handshakes for the women, open mouth kisses for the men.
The fact that we didn't put that one on the list is crazy.
It is crazy. Either way, I think I'm going basketball.
I think so too. I think
I'm going basketball.
I think that's the way to go. So let's go ahead and report the scores.
Do you agree? Basketball?
Even though it autocorrected basketball to basketball on here, I'm gonna call it out. So if anyone watches the episode, they know that I know.
Yeah,
that you know.
We're voting basketball.
Also, I'm realizing we didn't put dodgeball on here, which honestly, I think it could compete with basketball.
It could have.
Next on the list, are you ready for this?
Uh-huh.
We have Robin Hood Men in Tights versus Date Movie. Cool.
Robin Hood Men in Tights versus Date Movie. Now this one, we're still going to talk about it, but this one for me is a clear winner.
Yeah.
There's a clear winner in my head as soon as you said the words.
Okay.
But tell me about Robin Hood Men in Tights.
So, crusading nobleman Robin of Locksley escapes from prison in Jerusalem and returns home to find that evil Prince John has confiscated his family estate and is abusing the citizenry. Robin enlists his blind attendant, Blinken, his friend Will Scarlett O'Hara, and Little John to help regain his home. Robin also hopes to woo the beautiful Maid Marian, and her chastity belt may prove a challenge. The chastity belt's such a iconic like symbol from that movie. But yeah, this movie came out in 1993. Honestly, it's such a great movie. Directed by Mel Brooks. So, Mel Brooks has been on the list quite a bit as the director.
I was waiting for you to mention Achoo.
Achoo.
Bless you.
This movie's so good. Like, I don't even know how to describe this movie sometimes.
I've seen this movie over and over and over.
Yeah.
It's such an easy watch, and like the slapstick comedy in there, and also like just like the stupid, really stupid jokes that would normally probably just go over your head. I love it.
Yeah, I
think love everything about this movie.
It's a fun movie to watch. The musical numbers in it are fantastic, and everyone everyone works really well in this movie together. So
I said, hey. Hey. I said, hey. Hey. You don't remember the opening scene?
keep going.
I don't remember. I don't know all of it, dude. It's like a rap. They're like rapping. Whatever, dude. All right.
Out of these two movies, though, man, I'm going Robin Hood.
All right, we didn't even talk about Date movie.
Do we need to?
Do we need to?
Just give us the synopsis. You already know my vote.
So, Date movie, the movie that came out in 2006.
Wow, before Epic movie, I feel like this one was worse in every way. You know what I mean?
So this one, it's about a woman named Julia, a hopeless romantic, finally finds the man of her dreams, a British gentleman, Grant. What? Fonkyardour?
It's
Anyway.
a joke on Meet the or like the Fockers.
Yeah, I get it. But whatever. I don't. That threw me off. But they spoof. Not another Greek. No, My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
There you go.
Not another Greek movie. Napoleon Dynamite, Meet the Fockers. All those like romantic comedy movies.
Yeah, especially from like the early 2000s.
Hitch.
Yeah. Kind of Hitch.
Yeah. Like you said, we don't need to talk about it because I had a clear winner when we started.
Yeah, and it's Robin Hood.
And it is Robin Hood Men in Tights.
I think it's a solid pick to move forward. It's gonna definitely see some trouble in the future, I think.
Yeah.
But it's a good choice, I think, to move forward. All right, next up, we got Tropic Thunder, which
hang
got
on.
Okay, I'm holding on.
Hang on.
I'm gonna pull up Tropic Thunder then.
Since you left me hanging.
I forgot because I haven't seen the movie in a long time.
Yo, check it out. Prince John and the sheriff, they was running the show, raising the taxes because they needed the dough. A reign of terror took over the land. They were shaking down the people just to beat the band. I said, hey.
Hey.
I said, hey.
Hey.
I said, hey.
See, now I remember it.
Jeez. He left me hanging, dude.
That's okay.
All right.
Don't take his
you,
side.
You pulled up Tropic Thunder.
I did, and the other one is not another teen movie.
All right. Got it.
Sweet. So let's start out with Tropic Thunder since we didn't talk about it in the first round. Came out in 2008. Good year.
Mm-hmm.
Great year.
Great
year for movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know Pineapple Express also came out then?
Crazy.
Anyways, let me get back on topic.
I said, hey. Jesus Christ.
Now it's going to be on purpose. So, Tropic Thunder. While shooting a war film, a director attempts to liven up proceedings by dropping the principal actors into the middle of a real jungle, claiming he is going to capture their performance with hidden cameras. The hapless group, including drug-addled comedy star Jeff Portnoy and and method actor Kirk Lazarus. Sorry. I'm just picturing both of them now. Kirk Lazarus are completely unaware when a series of unfortunate events leads them into the middle of a real war zone.
Mm-hmm.
So this movie is a movie within a movie is going on, right? So it's a movie about making a movie.
Movie within a movie and a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
So my favorite thing about this movie is that it opens with fake trailers from the universe of this movie that look legit. You know what I mean? Like they really did a great job. I think all the actors in this movie are fantastic. It's directed by Ben Stiller.
It's an epic cast.
It really is. You got Ben Stiller, Robert Downey Jr., Jack Black, Tom Cruise, Nick Nolte.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when I think we saw this in theaters when it came out. We shouldn't have. We weren't.
I don't remember.
I don't think we were old enough yet.
Either way.
This is honestly one of my favorite movies of all time.
It's a great movie.
I love everything about it. Like, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that we like to make videos and make content and stuff. So movies that are about that kind of thing, like making movies, stand out to me a little bit.
Yeah.
But this movie is a spoof on making movies more than it is movies, you know?
Well, it's also, slightly a spoof on, like Predator.
Yeah, just action movies in general.
Action movies.
Rambo. But other war
Saving
movies.
Private Ryan.
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
But the movie they're making is definitely feels like one of those kind of spoof movies. But I think honestly this movie is a spoof on Hollywood, you know? It takes the worst things about some actors that are out there and elevates them to a new level, like how Ben Stiller's character is a washed up action star trying to make it big. You have the drug addict comedy actor who has only made really crappy comedies and is known for fart jokes. You have Robert Downey Jr.
Yep.
I'm going to cough, so if you want to take it away.
So before we move on, let's just touch on not another teen movie. And then I'll tell you my opinions on Tropic Thunder after the fact. Okay. So Not Another Teen Movie came out in 2001, as we talked about last time.
Long time ago. Feels like ages ago.
Long time ago. It stars Chris Evans, Mia Kirshner, Jamie Presley, Shyler Lee, and as you know, we talked about it before, but it basically is, the coming of age movies is spoofing the coming of age stories.
She's All That and 10 Things I Hate About You, things like that. Breakfast Club.
But as good as this movie is,
16 Candles. Sorry.
As good as this movie is, Tropic Thunder, especially coming out in 2008, which is way later, pushed a lot of boundaries.
True.
A lot of boundaries with, for one, Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Robbie Downey Jr.
Robert Downey Jr.'s character. A big one, right?
Yeah.
And then...
Because he was already Iron Man at this time. But only in 2 movies, I want to say. It was only Iron Man and Iron Man 2.
Well, Iron Man 1 came out in 2008, didn't it?
Shit. I'm pulling it up. Don't worry.
So it just come out?
Oh, yeah. It was around the same time. Because Iron Man came out, 2008. May 2nd. Yeah, it had come out because Tropic Thunder came out August 13th.
Oh, shoot.
So they were pretty close.
Yeah. A couple months later.
So Robert Downey Jr. just made his big comeback.
Yeah. And pushed a lot of buttons on the way, dude.
Yeah.
Especially with that movie.
For those of you who don't know, he plays a method actor who is obviously white, playing an African-American character.
Yes.
And everyone is dogging on him the whole time. Everyone's giving him shit because it's not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Secondly, why did these fake casting directors cast him in this role at the first place? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. There's so much about this movie that stands out and works really well. I didn't know Tom Cruise was in it until the very end credits.
Really?
And he's a big part of the movie because he's all done up and he's looking all jacked and bald and it does not look like him at all.
Yeah.
And then you watch it and you see the name come up and you're like, holy shit, that's Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
And now you know it's Tom Cruise from the start and it makes it even better.
Yeah.
But I also love Jay Baruchel's character in this. He's the only sane person in this cast because he's a new actor. And he was not really known for a lot of things at this time. And he's honestly become one of my favorite comedy actors.
Yeah.
He's just very versatile. And then Brandon T. Jackson, he was relatively unknown at this time too.
Who's that?
He plays Al Pacino, dude.
Yeah.
Not Al Pacino, Al Pacino.
Al Pacino. So, with all this said, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to talk too much about not another teen movie because we already did.
Yeah.
I'm going Tropic Thunder.
I think I want to as well. You heard it. You
agree?
heard it here.
You heard it here first.
Why'd you kick me?
Yeah. 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 So what is next on our list here?
Just a really difficult one.
Oh, this one we might need the tiebreaker. Maybe not.
So it's Shaun of the Dead versus Hot Fuzz. What are you pulling up?
Shaun of the Dead.
Damn it.
Okay, never
No,
mind.
I'll pull up Hot Fuzz. It's fine. I already did it. It's already done.
Okay, go for it.
Cool. So I got to preface this by saying that Edgar Wright's my favorite director of the last 20, 25 years or so.
And he directed both these movies, by the way.
He directed these.
BT Dubs.
And it's written by him and Simon Pegg, and it's Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, and Edgar Wright did a trilogy of movies, and both of these are on that list.
And it's Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz,
The World's End.
The World's End. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All three are great.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone slept on The World's End, and if you haven't watched it, go watch it right now.
It's
Because
great.
it's so good. And it should have been on our list, but we had to take something off. And if I'm being honest, these two are better than The World's End, but The World's End is still awesome. Okay. So, let's go ahead. And do you want to talk about Shaun of the Dead first?
Sure.
Since it came out first.
Sure. Shaun of the Dead came out in 2004, and it's a horror/comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And Shaun is a 30-something loser with a dull, easy existence. When he's not working at the electronics store, he lives with his solvenly best friend, Ed, in a small flat on the outskirts of London. The only unpredictable element in his life is his girlfriend, Liz, who wishes desperately for Shaun to grow up and be a man. When the town is inexplicably
There you go.
overrun with zombies, Shaun must rise to the occasion and protect both Liz and his mother. That's the synopsis. This is a spoof or take on zombie movies.
Yeah.
Dawn of the Dead.
Of course. Easy.
Of course. I'm not gonna lie. 2004, we were 13.
Somewhere around there.
I was terrified to watch this movie at first.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know what it was. I didn't know that it was a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw zombies, and my dad made me watch Night of the Living Dead when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I was like 9. Okay, so not
It's
too
a
far
classic.
before this.
Yeah.
And that shit scared the frick out of me.
Scared you so much you forgot how to swear
Exactly.
and talk.
Exact. But, already terrified of zombies at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared to watch this movie, and then I finally watched it. I think it was when it was finally coming out on Comedy Central.
Yeah.
And I was like, this movie's kind of funny, you know?
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
It really is.
And then the beats on the music and just that Edgar Wright style that wasn't as apparent back then than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It was just so great. It all worked.
Yeah. But
going up against Hot Fuzz, it's going to be a tough one.
It really is. So, Shaun of the Dead, the first time I watched it is because, again, this guy over here in the corner randomly rented it from Blockbuster. And we watched it on a night where we just played Halo and watched Shaun of the Dead all night long. I'm not even kidding. I just remember I saw it at Blockbuster and I was like, I don't know what that is. I don't want to rent it. And then this dude just is like, hey, I rented this movie. You should come over and watch it. And honestly became one of those movies we rented like every other week, I think.
Yeah.
Like it was like this and Kung Pao, I swear. We just went back and forth. I didn't realize how much I loved this movie though until Hot Fuzz came out.
Mm-hmm.
And until like The World's End and Baby Driver and all these other movies that Edgar Wright's done, like they just work for me. Like Scott Pilgrim is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time, and it has more to do with Edgar Wright than it is the source material of Scott Pilgrim, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Shaun of the Dead was really influential to me wanting to be a filmmaker.
Can you tell me about Hot Fuzz?
I can.
Yeah.
And I will.
Great.
Awesome. So, Hot Fuzz. Let me just put the phone down and let's go off memory. So yeah, Hot Fuzz is about Sergeant Angel, who moves to the small, sleepy town to become a police officer because he's doing too much in London. So they kick him out, basically.
He's doing too much.
He's the classic, like, grizzled action hero from those buddy cop movies everyone loves, like Lethal Weapon and Bad Boys 2. Which is also a joke from this movie. You haven't seen Bad Boys 2?
Right.
He just shoots the gun in the, you know. Anyways, but he moves to this town. There's not much going on. Chases a goose, chases some vandals, things like that. The goose is loose all the time in this movie.
The goose is loose.
But things start seeming a little weird, and he has to unravel a mystery that the entire town is involved with.
But then nobody really believes him at this point, too.
No, because they're all in on it.
Right.
So when he like contacts like London and he's like, some crazy stuff's going on, because people start dying in mysterious ways. And it's all these people who are trying to change the status quo. So he has to figure out why these people are dying. And then there's this whole thing. It's like a cult vibe. The whole town's in on it. And then there's huge gun battles and car chases. And my favorite thing is the car chase that ends up in the mini village and the little cars explode. And everything about this movie I love.
Right.
But I think this movie was ahead of its time because a lot of people didn't see it. And I think more people need to.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't as mainstream, I feel.
I don't think either Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz.
I don't think so either, yeah.
But I think they started getting enough traction to where The World's End came out and people were more disappointed by it than they should have been because I don't think they really put it together. That they're not a trilogy of movies in a traditional way. It's a trilogy of movies about a normal guy in some weird circumstances. That's how this trilogy is. They call it the Cornetto trilogy. But Edgar Wright has this style and this way he shoots his movies that a lot of people weren't used to. It's very stylized. Camera's moving a lot. There's lots of quick zooms and jump cuts and things. And I think it works for all three of these movies. But in an action setting like Hot Fuzz, I think it works really, really well.
Do you remember when I did an audition for your college short film? And it was a zombie movie. And I picked a monologue from Shaun of the Dead. And I freaking bombed.
Yeah.
It was like the worst audition I ever did in my life.
For something that didn't matter at all?
Yeah. I bombed hard. Didn't remember the lines at all. And then whoever was doing the audition, I'm assuming the director, he was like, all right, let's try something else. Let's do like a quick read, you know. Here's your little script. And they had me sit in the chair for like that main scene in your short film. And bombed. Still. I had already screwed it up. I screwed the pooch.
Why would you do that?
And I said, "Arnar."
Arnar.
Arnar.
Before it was popular.
It was horrible. Anyways, with everything we just talked about said, I'm going Shaun of the Dead. I feel like it's a classic.
Yeah, it's a rom-com set in the apocalypse.
Mm-hmm. And I think without Shaun of the Dead, we wouldn't have Hot Fuzz or At World's End.
Mm-hmm. Or Scott Pilgrim, or Baby Driver, or the new one, which is really good. And why can't I think of the name right now? I don't remember it.
Well, Shaun of the Dead started,
Last Night in Soho.
Yeah. I watched that one recently.
It's pretty good.
It was pretty good.
It's different.
It's good.
Not
pretty
as good as the others.
But I'm going Shaun of the Dead.
And I want to go Hot Fuzz because I do feel like it's more of a spoof movie on the genre than Shaun of the Dead, even though I love Shaun of the Dead.
Mm.
Every second of that movie is great. Every second of Hot Fuzz is great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the comedic timing and like the chemistry between Nick Frost and Simon Pegg really excels in Hot Fuzz.
Mm.
So that's where we need you, Artie, to help us out. Between these two movies that are almost the same fucking movie, which one moves forward?
What's it going to be?
Honestly, I think it's going to be Shaun of the Dead.
Ooh.
Artie said Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead is you pretty much explained Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, where it's just so good. The chemistry.
I saw more of a spoof.
Yeah.
When I watched Hot Fuzz, it felt like more of, I don't know, a story.
Like a cop movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not mad with this choice at all. I just knew it was going to be a tough one.
Looks like we're going Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun,
Moving on up.
Shaun with a W.
All right, let's get to this next one. We got Airplane versus Austin Powers.
We might have to pick up the pace here.
I think we might too. I'm going to pull up Airplane.
Okay.
Or Aeroplan is what I typed in without looking.
Aeroplan. Can we look at the time?
At the time. Yeah, we're chilling. 32
All right,
minutes
all
in.
right,
Just
all right.
for anyone listening out there, want to know how
32
long you've been
minutes.
listening.
32
minutes.
Or you can just look at your phone.
Yeah, or you can do that. Unless you're like doing something else, like dishes.
If you're doing dishes, stop right now and look at your phone.
Tell us what time it is in the comments when you get to this part.
What time is it?
9 a.m.
What are you doing? And why are you doing it?
We're waiting.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get it going. So Airplane with an exclamation mark.
Aeroplane.
No, just Airplane.
Got it.
1980, this movie came out, and it's honestly one of those movies that when you say spoof movies comes to mind every single time.
Mm-hmm.
This movie is so dumb in the best possible way. Like, the 80s didn't hold back when it comes to spoof comedies, right?
Yeah.
So this movie, it takes shot at a bunch of different disaster movies that were released in the 70s. So when the passengers and crew of a jet are incapacitated due to food poisoning, a rogue pilot with a drinking problem must cooperate with his ex-girlfriend turned stewardess to bring the plane to a safe landing. Yeah. This movie has so many jokes that I feel like people like quote daily. You know what I mean? Like,
surely you can't be serious.
I am, and don't call me Shirley. You know, like, there's so many good jokes in this movie, and I feel like it's pretty hilarious for like how kind of tame it is. You know, it doesn't feel like raunchy like Scary Movie or, you know, Date Movie, Disaster Movie, all those kind of movies, right? Those are raunchy comedies.
Mm-hmm.
This one feels like, oh, it was okay that we watched it when we were 12. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, on the other hand, we have Austin Powers, and this one came from round one.
Mm-hmm.
And the first movie was International Man of Mystery, came out in 1997.
It doesn't seem like that movie's that old.
And came in with the sequel in 1999.
Just 2 years later.
And then the third movie in a trilogy.
Wasn't it
in
2003?
2002.
2.
Yeah.
Dang.
The Austin Powers movie, to me, it's a classic.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, and I'm just going to jump right to it.
Yeah.
My pick is Austin Powers.
Okay.
Mainly because Airplane is great.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. But I would turn it on to go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Not because it's boring, but it's just like
It's there.
nothing to watch. Airplane.
Yeah.
Nothing to watch. Naked Gun.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Austin Powers, I would watch it to sit there and watch it.
Yeah, no, I get it.
And, you know, they're both very funny in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Austin Powers does it for me.
I get that. When I think spoof movies, though, I'm thinking Airplane. I'm thinking Naked Gun, you know, Hot Shots, all that kind of stuff, right? Like that era of spoof movies. However, I think Airplane is a product of the times. I don't think it would be as funny to this new generation now, but I also don't think Austin Powers is as funny to the new generations now. I think they're both kind of stuck in their time. They're very slapstick comedy. They're very funny. They're very dumb smart. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or smart dumb. Let's go smart dumb. That sounds better.
Smart, dumb.
They do dumb smart, right? They
Right.
make it silly. They make it dumb comedy because it's just supposed to be feel good movies.
Mm-hmm.
If I want to sit down and watch a feel good slapstick smart dumb movie, I'm gonna watch Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Like, that's just it.
That's what I'm saying.
It makes the most sense. So let's move Austin Powers. Sorry, Airplane. But again, I just think Airplane's a product of the time. I think it resonates more with the generation before us and most of our generation.
Yeah.
All right, next on the list. This is going to be a fun one, too.
What is it?
Kung Pao versus Hot Shots.
Oh.
I'm going to pull up Kung Pao because I've seen that one more than I've seen Hot Shots. Kung Pao, Enter the Fist. Again, another movie that me and Artie watched too many times as kids.
Yippee!
Yay, yay, yay! Chosen one! I'm coming! Chosen one! I'm coming! What's the KFC song? Is it KFC? Taco Bell? I don't remember how the song goes, but there's some joke about KFC, right? Because and we got a KFC. Like, I don't remember.
Go ahead and tell me about
Kung Pao, Enter the
Pao.
Fist?
Yeah.
All right.
Came out in 2001.
2002.
2002.
So I think this is another movie that Artie probably rented from Blockbuster on a whim. Didn't know what it was. Saw the cover of Steve Odenkirk holding two chipmunks as nunchucks. Chipmunk nunchucks. And a cow doing karate. But this was one of those ones we watched, and it is so dumb while also being really smart, right? So, writer-director Steve Odenkirk acquired the little-known 1976 Hong Kong karate flick Savage Killers, then seamlessly blended portions of the film with new material he has directed to create a wild, off-the-wall comedy feature film. So he wrote, directed, and stars in Enter the Fist, placing himself digitally into the old film, redubbing the characters, and shooting new scenes. So he bought an old movie that probably didn't do well. No one probably had seen outside of, Hong Kong, where he got it.
Yeah.
And put himself into this movie to make a brand new movie.
Awesome.
How can you not say that's the best spoof you could ever do in history?
Yeah.
He's got a talking tongue.
Yeah.
That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. And
It's
it
the star
makes
of the show.
It makes sense in this universe. He fights a cow
Yeah.
and does the Matrix bullet time thing with the milk from its udders. I don't know how anyone thought of this at this time.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I feel like people do this all the time now with like YouTube and things like that, and like TikTok. They put themselves into scenes of other movies. But this, 2002,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's pretty awesome for the time, right? He just inserted himself digitally into this movie and made a whole brand new movie.
Right.
I can't get over that. I think it's really cool. You know what I mean? I don't know what else to say. I think the movie's great. The comedy and humor is definitely 2002. It's definitely slapstick. I wouldn't say it's raunchy. I do think it's like very heavily spoofing on 80s action films and especially like martial arts films of the time.
Yeah.
Like I'm thinking like Mortal Kombat from the 90s and things like that. So
Or
Street Fighter.
what's the tiger, Crouching Tiger?
I think that was around then too, right?
Crouching
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I also think it pokes fun at like
I never watched that movie because it was not in English.
that makes sense.
I just never watched
That makes sense.
I was just like,
Meh.
I have to read subtitles?
If I wanted to read a book, I'd grab a book.
Yeah, dude.
Subtitles. And now 95% of the people our age read subtitles with all their shows.
Yep.
But my brain
here.
just goes subtitles only. What
Yeah.
happened? Subtitles only. Nothing else.
Or the
Oh, yeah.
Stranger Things subtitles. Vecna squelching.
What?
You never watched the Stranger Things season 5?
4?
4? With subtitles?
No?
They had some crazy subtitles in there.
Yeah.
They described noises.
I don't like that.
Yeah, it
I
was
don't
crazy.
Like that. I don't like that.
It literally said Vecna squelching.
Hip bone crunching into millions of pieces. Bob getting murdered.
So this movie is up against an older movie. Came out in 1991.
Wow.
Hot Shots with an exclamation point.
He's got one too?
Yep.
Nice.
Hot Shots.
Kung Pao has one.
Kung Pao. Yeah. In this spoof of Top Gun, former U.S. Navy pilot Topper Harley, played by Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen?
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen
Mm-hmm.
is haunted by an accident in which his father lost control of a fighter jet. When Lieutenant Commander James Block, played by Kevin Dunn, asked Topper to come out of retirement to help him complete a classified mission, Topper returns to active duty against the advice of his psychiatrist and soon discovers that he may be a pawn in a devious arms manufacturing conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
This movie came out in 91 along the lines with Airplane, Naked Gun,
Mm-hmm.
Naked Gun 2.
Naked Gun 33 and a third.
Naked Gun. Yeah. But I mean this movie was crazy stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of the jokes in this movie, just like Airplane, were smart, stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid on purpose.
Yeah.
I gotta say, they made this spoof on Top Gun, and then the squeakquel was Rambo.
Right.
Part
Hot Shots Part 2.
2. But I mean, with the originality, I guess, of Kung Pao,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm gonna lean towards Kung Pao.
I think we have to. Like, I think Hot Shots is almost a safe answer right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, Kung Pao is so different and so weird that it needs to move forward just to make it difficult for some other movies to move forward. You know, because I feel like Hot Shots was, again, it's just a product of its time. It doesn't make as much sense now because the action movies we get nowadays are like PG-13, like safe for everyone to watch.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do this, they don't do that like we did in the 80s and 90s. So
It could also be, for both of us, like a nostalgia factor coming
True.
in here, because Kung Pao came out when we were kids.
mm-hmm.
We watched it as kids,
Mhm.
and I'm sure we watched Hot Shots too, also, but it was an old movie once we watched it already.
Right.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so.
Master Betty.
So we're going with Kung
We're gonna go with
Pao.
Kung Pao. Honestly, if you guys have not seen Kung Pao, it is fun. It is almost too fun sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got this next one, which I feel like we're gonna probably move pretty quick on, because we have 2 more rounds. This is one superhero movie versus scary movie. Which one do you want to pull up?
Scary movie.
Okay. So, superhero movie. 2008. Like, the start of Marvel at this point, right? Like, superhero movies have been a thing. We've seen a bunch of them. But this one is about Rick Riker. Classic superhero name, right? Double initials. After a bite from a genetically altered insect giving him superhuman abilities, teenage loser Rick Riker, played by Drake Bell, decides to use his powers for good. Donning an uncomfortably tight costume, Rick becomes a mysterious crime fighter known as the Dragonfly. But standing in the way of truth, justice, and the American way is an evil villain known as the Hourglass, who plans to become immortal by sucking the life force out of anybody who gets in his way.
So this one is a direct spoof off of Spider-Man.
Basically, like, that's the main movie that it's spoofing on.
Almost scene for scene. Almost, bit for bit.
Bite for bite.
Bite for bite.
Yeah.
It's Spider-Man.
It is the original Spider-Man, Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It is spoofing on that. I think this movie came out and there was a fatigue of spoof movies, so a lot of people were just done with spoof movies at this time. But there's a resurgence for this movie right now. People are talking positively about this movie now and saying that it's almost just a good superhero movie and not just a good spoof movie.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it in a while, but I think the resurgence of this movie is something that kind of sparked us having the conversations again of spoof movies. But I think it's really solid. Like, I think this is one of the ones we watched a lot growing up as well, but maybe not as much as some of the others. But I know I definitely saw this movie more than once.
So it's up against Scary Movie. Came out in 2000. And we talked about it before in the last episode. But Scary Movie started, a trend to where we now have 5 scary movies.
And probably another in the works.
Probably. But like we said,
I'm only going to watch it if the
before-
Wayans bros are involved.
Right. I mean, I don't think they would do another one.
No, probably not.
But like we said before, Scary Movie kind of started the trend at that time.
Yeah, the Renaissance.
The renaissance of spoofs.
Yeah.
And just to kind of push it along, I'm going Scary Movie.
I'm agreeing because it's like the one at the timeline where the timeline split. This is Scary Movie is that movie where we branched off into this having 1,000 spoof movies in 8 years,
Yeah.
So let's go Scary Movie.
Scary Movie.
Moving right
Scary
along. Last in this round and in this episode is I think another tough one. Are you ready?
Uh-huh.
It's Mars Attacks versus Galaxy Quest.
Whew.
What are you pulling up, man?
Galaxy Quest.
I knew you were going to pull it up. That's why I already have Mars Attacks up. So, let's start with Mars Attacks, right? Mars Attacks came out in 1996, and it's a comedy sci-fi movie directed by Tim Burton. It's got a pretty good rating, but it's about a fleet of Martian spacecraft surrounding the world's major cities, and all of humanity waits to see if the extraterrestrial visitors has, as they claim, come in peace. Because that's what they said on the thing, right? U.S. President James Dale, played by Jack Nicholson, receives assurance from science professor Donald Kessler, played by Pierce Brosnan, that the Martians' mission is a friendly one, but when a peaceful exchange ends in total annihilation of the U.S. Congress, military men call for a full-scale nuclear retaliation.
Come in peace.
Mm-hmm.
This is a play on Independence Day.
Kind of, it's that and like really heavily inspired by B movies of the 1950s, which is what Tim Burton set out to make, like an Ed Wood style movie. Like Plan B, or was it Plan B, Plan 9 from Outer Space, things like that.
Yeah.
Those old like black and white sci-fi movies type of deal. So it's very much like a slapstick comedy. It's real silly. But yeah,
it's great.
It's a weird movie,
and it's got a big cast.
Yeah, it's got a good amount of.
It's a crazy big cast for, the kind of movie that it is.
Yeah, we got like Jack Nicholson, Danny DeVito, Jack Black, Glenn Close, Pierce Brosnan, Michael J. Fox, Sarah Jessica Parker, Natalie Portman's in it. Martin Short.
But speaking
Sputnik.
of a stacked cast,
Yeah, I mean, hit us with the Galaxy
we
Quest.
move on to Galaxy Quest. Came out in 1999.
It feels a lot newer than that.
I didn't know it was that old.
Yeah, it feels a lot newer than that.
Galaxy Quest. Let's start with the stacked cast. Because you were just talking about your stacked cast?
Yeah, talk about
Here's
your
my
stacked cast. Can you talk about your stacked cast?
My stacked cast is Sigourney Weaver,
Stacked.
Tim Allen,
Cast.
Alan Rickman,
Stacked.
Tony Shalhoub,
Shaloub. Stacked cast.
Sam Rockwell,
Stacked cast.
Justin Long,
Super stacked cast.
Rainn Wilson.
Shit. Stacked cast.
Those are the big ones.
Those are the big ones.
I'm not going to keep going because I don't know the rest. But
oh, man. That's a stacked cast.
Stacked cast. Corbin Blue.
Corbin Blue's in this movie?
What the heck?
You mean the guy from the movie on the Disney Channel?
What the heck?
Get your head in the game?
So, Galaxy Quest. Quick synopsis.
Cool, give me the synopsis. I've never seen this
The
movie.
stars of a 1970s sci-fi show
Star Trek.
now scraping a living through reruns and sci-fi conventions.
Scraping by, maybe.
Yeah, it's not typed correctly. I literally read it word for word just now.
Okay.
I didn't mess it up. I didn't mess it up.
I believe you. It's them you got to convince.
I didn't mess it up. All right. Now scraping a living through reruns and sci-fi conventions. That makes more sense. Just had to get the timing right.
Yeah.
They are beamed aboard an alien spacecraft, believing the cast's heroic on-screen dramas and historical documents are real life. The band of aliens turn to alien celebrities for help in their quest to overcome the oppressive regime in the solar system.
Okay, so what he was trying to say, because it sounds
Jesus.
like the synopsis was written weird. A bunch of people, a cast, stacked cast.
Stacked cast?
Stacked cast, as you will.
Why was that so hard to read?
A stacked cast of ex-sci-fi from the 1970s show
Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Galaxy
Who are
Quest.
barely making a living. They're just getting royalty. What is it? Is it royalties? It's not royalties. Residuals from reruns of their show and going to conventions and like taking pictures with people. That's how they're making their money. They get sucked into an alien ship because these aliens...
Abducted.
Yeah. These aliens thought the TV show they were on are historical documents.
That they're real.
That they were real events that happened. So they rebuilt the ship from the show as an actual spaceship, brought this cast of actors onto the ship, and then they have to fight against an alien race I think the alien's name is like Saros or something. I don't remember. But he's big bad, and he's got a little like Phineas and Ferb hairstyle, you know what I mean? But it's like fingers and moves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So they have to fight him, and they realize that they don't actually hate each other. They start getting along, and then the show gets rebooted at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
This movie is so good. Like, Galaxy Quest is so good.
It's a great movie.
I watch it like at least once a year.
Not to mention the
Stacked
stacked
cast. Is it a cast?
It's a stacked
They're stacked
cast
on top of each other?
on top of each other.
Shit.
So my decision's made, dude.
I think that Galaxy Quest is easier to watch. I think it's more made for a wider audience than Mars Attacks.
Mm-hmm.
Mars Attacks is kind of creepy in like a funny, like old school horror type of way. Galaxy Quest, I swear, you said 1999?
Yeah.
It does not feel like a movie from the 90s. It feels like 2005 at the earliest. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I don't know. The effects are great. The cast is great.
Stacked cast.
I think it's stacked. And I think we're going to have to stack Galaxy Quest into the next round.
I agree. Galaxy Quest it is. Galaxy Quest? No.
You think Mars Attacks?
Too bad.
Sucks. You're outvoted. Guy who sits in the corner and makes no noise ever. Sweet. So that's where we're gonna
Hey,
end.
you keep it down over there.
Hey, quiet on set. That's it for round 2, the biggest round of this conquest here. So we're gonna be moving on. For the next round, we have Basketball versus Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oof.
We have Tropic Thunder versus Shaun of the Dead.
Oof.
Austin Powers versus Kung Pao.
Oof.
And Scary Movie versus Galaxy Quest.
So that is the quarterfinals?
Quarterfinals. 4 more rounds, and then we move on to the semis. And we find out what we think. You got a semi?
Semi?
You got a semi?
I got a semi, dude. I got a semi right now, dude.
So, we're going to end this episode here. We're going to pick it back up for part 3, the final round.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
Which
final,
will be quarter, semi, and final.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do it.
And then, just remember, in the comments, let us know what you think's going to win. Let us know if we made any mistakes. Like, if you think we're just the worst people on the planet for moving a movie forward where another one should have gone, tell us. Yell at us in the comments. Let us know.
Let us know.
Be sure
and
to
also, if you agree,
if you agree too. Yeah, I mean,
comment stacked cast.
stacked cast.
Stacked
Text
cast.
it to us. Just hit the little thing if you're listening on any podcast listening thing.
Yeah, shoot us
There's a button
text.
that says text us. Just little tap it.
We can see it.
We read them all.
We read them all.
All 2 of them that we've got.
Yep.
But also, while you're at it, you can go follow us on like Instagram and TikTok at
BJ in the morning _
And if you want to watch the podcast instead of just listening to it on any of your podcast apps, you can watch us at YouTube at
BJ in the morning podcast,
where you should like and subscribe and comment
and flick the bell.
Flick the bell.
Flick the bell hard.
Just a little ding,
yeah.
ding.
Yeah.
And share this video to 5 of your closest friends. Or, actually, better yet, send it to 5 of your least close friends. So you guys can reconnect
the fuck
over.
is this?
But just so you can reconnect with your old friends you haven't talked to in a couple years.
Right, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at us.
I'm going to send it to you.
I'm not one of your closest friends?
No, I'm just going to send it to you.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to send it to him.
And I'm also going to send it to you. And then you send it back to both of us. And that's how STDs work.
Wow. Stacked cast.
Stacked cast. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of BJ in the Morning. I'm Brendan.
And I'm Juan.
Take it away.
And
Take it away.
never give up.
Never surrender.
Goodbye.